Welcome to another episode of Primo Talks. When it comes to life, you got to have those people around you who have those gifts and talents like you have in order for you to implement those things, so you know that the things that you're doing is moving you towards those goals, those dreams, those realities that you saw in your life. This is not the time for you to take a step back. It's a time for you to be teleported. This is a place where you can actually get the information that you need that you can implement today. Let's talk. Today we're going to jump right into it. We're going to look at some things that you need to incorporate into your overall business. If you're like me, you're an entrepreneur, and you are looking at your business on a daily basis, you can either be working in it or you could be working on it. Depending upon what aspect you're doing, you need to pay close attention to some very specific things, because this will help you to be a better steward of your overall business and a better servant when it comes to the community. Let's jump right in. As you know me, I like to jump right in and go right into the lesson. How to withstand market volatility. Now, you have a couple different markets. You can have the overall GDP economy. You can have your own little local area as far as things that could be happening. Here's another volatility. If they actually cut off a road and that road was leading directly to your business, it's going to affect you. That's going to be a market volatility. Now, if that situation affect you and they don't actually reroute the traffic back to you, and that's a road where they actually making it bigger to get on the interstate, and you or people coming off the interstate to get to your business, you're going to run into an issue where that's definitely going to cause you some market volatility. So you have some certain things locally, then we can look on a national level. So let's look at it. Be open to financial advice when lost. If you're an entrepreneur, trust me when I tell you this, early on when you first start a business, there's going to be a lot of moments where it's like you're driving a car on the highway with a group of friends, and as you're going to a new place you've never been before. So you're going to have some fear, you're going to have some, maybe I'm going the right way, maybe I'm not. So be open to what? Financial advice when lost. It's nothing wrong with getting someone else's opinion to cause you to think more critical. This helps us because remember, you always hear me say, correction leads you to the right direction. It's teleportation. Sometimes if I'm over here and I'm trying to get to point A, but over here doesn't lead to point A, I need to move to point B. And correction would say, hey, you may want to do this. Now, you also got to be mindful of the person that you're asking this advice from as well. Sometimes we get financial advice from people who are not in business. We may get advice, and let me just tell you, if a person is not an entrepreneur and you get advice from them, unless they are over regulations for that area, you have to accept that advice will be biased because their interest is your best interest. So they may give you warnings that is so centered in fear, and you need to know that. You need to write down, okay, this person is looking out for my best interest, so they're going to have a bias. They would say, well, if I was you, again, if you was me, which you're not, I understand. What's the bias? You need to know that, because when you're being open to financial advice when lost, you need to know, are they lost too? Number two, don't get spooked by short-term fluctuations. Sometimes when you're looking at your overall clientele base, or maybe you're just starting off, you don't have any clientele. When you have one or two clients and they decide to, hey, I can't meet this month, or let me think about it, which means no, and they wait 90 days. Again, don't get nervous. If your service is for the masses, you have to know that as you begin to operate, you're going to be learning how to communicate with customers. You're also going to be learning how you communicate with your team or just yourself. Communicating with yourself can provoke you into doing some crazy stuff. So it's important that you realize that whenever you are communicating with anyone, or you see short-term changes in customers' behaviors, don't get spooked. Number three, don't sub out all your company's work. I can't tell you how many investors make this fundamental mistake. Entrepreneur today, 10 years or 20 years, I'm going to go back to this. Do not sub out all your company's work. Again, do not sub it out. The fastest way when you're discovering is this assumption real to lose allocations of fund is because you sub it out. It's different when you're doing the work yourself. There are a lot of entrepreneurs or owners that decide that, and you'll hear it, well, I haven't paid myself in 5 years. If they subbed it out, they paid somebody in 5 years. If they didn't pay themselves over 5 years, we got to go back to this. They need to be open to financial advice when lost. See, you can't have consumer debt and then say I'm gonna start a company and then I'm gonna be in a position where I'm not gonna make no payments to myself in 5 years because you got consumer debt. So you can't start a business, ignore the consumer debt, and then think you're gonna be viable in business, because that behavior of responsibility requires for you not only to not ignore your consumer debt, is also to look at the new debt for the business on top of that consumer debt and solve both of those issues. But don't sub it out. If you sub out work, you're gonna be paying more anyway. There are certain things that you have to develop, and subbing it out makes you ignore it. Now, I'll be honest with you. There are certain things that you can get away with subbing out. Those are certain things. Those are one-time cost things. People say, well, what would you give an example of that? Okay, if you don't have an in-house person who is your employee who's very good at graphics and very good at logos, you may sub that out. You sub that out. But if you have somebody that's in-house and they do very well, don't sub that out. Here's another thing. You may sub out your delivery when it comes to shipping. We all know about now that people talk about drop shipping, which means they don't really do anything other than just sub everything out, from the product being manufactured to being drop shipped. They're just a salesperson. So they subbing everything out. Well, right now that meant that you'll be in a situation where there's going to be a delay in pay to you because everybody gets paid first by you. Number 4, keep your eyes on your pricing. You have to also accept that pricing may have to increase during certain times in market fluctuation, because what happens if your shipping cost goes out and you don't pay attention to it? Recently, I was sitting down and I noticed that, FedEx, one of the accounts that I use when I'm shipping stuff for one of the businesses I have, I noticed that their pricing went up. Shipping something just one state over went up by $4. And when it went up by $4, if I wasn't keeping an eye on my pricing, then I had a flat rate shipping for certain products, but it went up by $4. So it's $4 higher than it was just a year ago. Well, how does that affect your business? Because your pricing, you just lost money. You do not want to be in a situation where you're actually providing services and you're paying somebody to buy your product. And shipping is a non-added value cost that can easily eat away at your profitability and begin to reduce your pricing. So pay attention to it. As always, whenever we are entrepreneurs and you need to be able to rub shoulders with another entrepreneur, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, click the bell icon, so that way you can always receive that update when we're actually talking, so you got an avid. So again, like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you can get the latest information that comes out from CFS when we post our shows. Have a great day.